Okay, so I think we can begin. I see a lot of faces, not only young faces, but mainly young faces, which makes me happy, of course, because this is a youth policy dialogue. Okay, so let me welcome you here today at the Youth Policy Dialogue with Andrius Kubilius, the European Commissioner for Defense and Space. My name is Jelinek. I'm a policy officer at DG DEFIS, and I'm also the youth correspondent. So I'll be moderating today, and just a couple of remarks. Please prepare your phones because you'll be needing them for a Slido, and we are really under time pressure, so you will be required to react very, very quickly. And it is really, once again, a pleasure to see so many faces. It really looks like space is not staying at the sci-fi part of the topic, but really becoming a mainstream. So I would like to invite Commissioner Kubilius to have some opening remarks.
Well, good morning to everybody. And I'm very happy really to see so many young faces, and I myself still consider that I am still quite young when I'm talking about space especially. Because in space I think that everybody is young, because space brings a lot of dreams, which usually is more familiar to young people. But those who are involved into space perhaps have dreams all the time. So, you know, here the number of how old you are is not so important. Second, definitely I'm very happy to see all of you because in my view, and I'm repeating that, space is something like a new frontier. I don't know how much you are reading now books about 19th century, you know, Wild West frontiers in America, you know, and cowboys and, you know, as everything else. But for me, space very much reminds exactly that feeling. There is a lot of things which are totally new ones, and we need to learn them, and that is why, you know, developments of space demanding a lot of new knowledge, new technologies, and so on, but also space as a new frontier will become a big part of all the economical developments, industrial developments. And that is what, you know, will change also a lot of things in our daily life. So obviously, I am very happy to see all of you, and I envy you that what you will see, you know, during next decades coming into space. And that will be really very revolutionary. So be ready for that.
Thank you so much for the opening words. And then we begin with the Youth Policy Dialogue, just for you to know what it is. So it is organized, actually Commissioner is very, very good with these Youth Policy Dialogues because he's not organizing only once per year, but really trying to talk to young people as often as he can. And so this is really our chance. We'll have around 25 minutes for you to ask anything you would like to know. And why we do it, it's because we try to implement what the young people, as just now Commissioner said, new ideas, new inspiration, etc., to implement into our policy. So this is really your moment to tell us what you think, or to ask us, or not me really, but Commissioner, what you would like to know, or what you would like to do, etc. So I invite anyone, if you have any questions, so please don't hesitate to raise your hand, and my colleagues will pass the microphone to you. But don't be afraid. I was kind of excellent there. Please, Simon's going there.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a mic.
Okay. Do you hear me? Yes. Well, thank you first for taking some time to exchange with us. So my question is not really about our career, but is more an exchange on your experience. So it kind of echoes what you were saying in your opening speech, the question about the balance between agility and speed, so that in the event of a war, we will have space capabilities ready for the war, which is a legitimate national concern. So my question is how, as Commissioner and from your experience, you plan on and try to defend European projects and fight fragmentation while at the same time recognizing the huge stakes related to having space capabilities ready on time in the event of a conflict?
Excellent question. So about space defense, protection of space assets.
Well, as I understand, your question is related with how we shall develop our assets on national level and on European level, and how to make really that what I can call taxpayers' money would be spent in Europe in the most effective way, because definitely member states understand the threats and they are investing very much into defense and also into space assets related with defense, which we call strategic enablers, very important part of strategic enablers, which now modern warfare is not possible without those assets. So member states now are increasing their defense spending, and part of that defense spending they are also investing into development of space assets. From another side, we are developing pan-European assets of similar purpose, and definitely then our goal is to do everything that we should have a synergy in between of national assets and European assets, and that is demands from technological point of view very much to spend a lot of attention to interoperability. So this is some new developments which will demand our attention, and we are doing together with European Space Agency. We shall really try to achieve the best outcome out from this very important developments. But in any case, both speed and interoperability should match each other. So that is my how to say my dream and my goal.
Thank you so much for the question. Do we have another here, over there? Maybe who's closer? Oh, yeah, Theo.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I couldn't help but notice that the address you just gave here is, of course, very different to the urgency, the drasticness of the address you gave as a keynote today in the Golden Hall. And this geopolitical shift that you, as a person and your role, or the response to that shift that you as a person also stand for, it makes it very clear, but I would really be interested to understand, do you, within all this drasticness and urgency of today's time, also have a more utopian vision for space for the future, especially for a European space future?
Well, I would not call utopian, because that is really will come. The question is when and in which way, but we need to see space as, I said, new frontier, which means that this, this area we still do not know all the capabilities or all the possibilities which we shall face in space. Definitely now it's our priority, very urgent priority is to build capabilities for defense and security. But then it's, we shall we can guess that a lot of things will start to develop, which will be related much more, for example, with economical development, in space manufacturing, lunar exploration, in space different operations. So I mean that will come. That will come, and that is what we need to be ready and to prepare for that. So maybe we cannot now very exactly say, what kind of manufacturing will happen or will start, the first one. But it's obvious that first of all, what we need to have, if we have such kind of, long-term vision, we need to have proper developed what I call transportation system into space, which means launching, rockets, different size, different capabilities, and that is what will become a daily, business, daily goals of of our next stage of development.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the question. Indeed, as I said also in the beginning, space is not sci-fi anymore. It's not utopia. It's really concrete things that we might not have been thinking about, but they are really there, and they are really in a sense of urgency. So this is very important. Do we have any other question over there?
Hello, hi, I'm Jarne and I work at the Dutch Department of Defense, and currently we see clear threats across all domain: air, cyber, land, maritime, and we know how to react to that. But it is unsure what what our reaction would be if they attack us in space. So to your opinion, would an attack within the European space domain be a declaration of war? And to your opinion, who's the largest adversary in space, Trump or Putin?
Well, first of all, I believe in our transatlantic relationship, despite the fact that sometimes, some things are, how to say, unpredictable. But in longer term, I see really that simply what is coming is that we shall need to have a proper division of responsibilities and labor in defense. And definitely when Americans are asking us as Europeans to take responsibility on conventional European defense, we need to do that, and we need to prepare for that. This is, there is nothing to argue about that. It will take time, especially, in development of what we call strategic enablers, including related with space. But we are doing that, and we shall need to do that. Now, from another side, really, your question about what we call defense of space. I'm always saying that in space, when we are talking about defense issues, we need to see two sides. One is defense for space, what defense capabilities can bring to our, space for defense, what space capabilities can bring for defense. From another side, how we need to defend our space capabilities. And we have seen, even before the war against Ukraine, that Russians have shown their capabilities to destroy satellites. So this is what we need to take seriously. So I will not talk about, you asked some kind of constitutional or legal question of international law. If our satellites would be attacked, should it be a declaration of war or not? But that's for lawyers. Let's let them to decide. Definitely that will be an aggression against our capabilities. But what is very important really is to develop all the possible capabilities to defend our assets in space. For that, we need to develop really effective surveillance system, and then we need to have good capabilities, what is called in space operation, which demands also specific launching capabilities. That is where, for example, micro launching can be of very effective usage, because you cannot wait when Ariane or even SpaceX will launch after some time the needed protection equipment into space. We need to have very rapid, very quick, very agile capabilities to launch immediately if you see that adversaries are doing something which is creating danger for your assets. So those are things which we having that in mind. We shall prepare quite soon during this year what we call communication on very important flagship, which we call Space Defense Shield, and that will cover also defense of our space assets, issues related with the defense of our space assets.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. And just to add that we are also addressing the legal issues by producing the space law that is also addressing the protection of space assets. A very good question. Thank you so much. I saw first there was there, and then the second one over there.
Yeah, thank you for giving me the floor, Mr. Commissioner. It's my pleasure to talk to you. And I would like to get back to your welcoming speech in the morning, during which you mentioned that you will push for five-fold increase in the, let's say, public investment into defense and space, which I think is a great idea, and I hope you will succeed in that. Nevertheless, this money, this huge increase in the investment should be used to tackle some security dilemmas in space and also on Earth. These security challenges are affecting not just some of the European countries, the biggest European countries, but also the smaller ones. And that's why I would like to ask, what's your advice to emerging spacefaring countries that are striving to get more integrated into these space ecosystems, international consortia, in terms of business and research and so on? Thank you very much.
Well, it's a very broad question. Definitely, if we are talking about European Union member states, smaller and bigger ones, so all of them, they need pan-European projects, flagship projects related with space, space for defense or defense of space, which we are developing. Bigger countries have resources, to develop their own systems, but smaller countries definitely, they depend very much on possibilities to have pan-European constellations like IRIS Square or Earth Observation Governmental Service, which we are now developing. So in order really to have something similar what we have with Galileo or Copernicus. So this is one thing. Now, second is how to develop in smaller countries space industry. Well, it's, it depends, of course, on political will and strategies of each country, but there are very successful examples. For example, well, I don't know if I can call Portugal, let's say, at least, let's say, not the biggest country. I will not call small country, but they are showing very, very, very good, progress in development of their national space industry with Atlantic constellation and so on. So there are a lot of good examples which other member states can follow, and of course, participation or membership in such, agencies like European Space Agency is very crucial, or industrial participation in ISD Association of Space and Defense Industries. Those things are really very crucial, because exactly from networking comes also the knowledge and possibilities to develop your own national industry.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I would just add that we are also working with SMEs and startups through our dedicated programs, where we really take whole Europe and we go around, not every country every year, but we take basically not really unicorn per se by definition, but also like very strong companies from even smaller countries, and we really streamline their access and lower the barriers and to help them develop. So this is a bit how we also contribute to developing the industrial base of Europe in terms of space. Thank you for the question. And then we had...
Thank you. Someone mentioned earlier something about satellites, and I have a question about dual use. At EU level, who decides and how is the process, how it is decided when dual-use systems are relevant for security and defense, and how is this ensured that all member states coordinate between them regarding the dual use and it's not fragmented?
Well, a lot of assets which we have, really we can call them dual use. Of course, some data which are used for security and defense, they demand some kind of secrecy arrangements and so on. But everything what space is providing now, is important both for let's say civilian use and military use. Let's take, for example, navigation and positioning. So, we are driving our cars, and I cannot imagine how we should drive. I remember still the time when we were using, paper maps, but it's it's gone, So we are using, Galileo services and so on. You can imagine how much navigation and positioning now is important for modern warfare, with all the drones and unmanned, vehicles and so on and so on. The same with connectivity. So the same with Earth observation. Definitely Earth observation, so-called governmental service, which we need to develop. It demands specific technologies, very precise, with very high rate of repetitive, pictures. But that can be used also for civilian needs. If, for example, in order really to have precise information about any kind of national disasters, such kind of technologies are very important and crucial. So I even don't know which kind of technologies in space would not have dual use.
Indeed, the connection between space and defense come naturally, as you can imagine very simply, if you have a satellite and you see something from the orbit, right? Then you don't necessarily have to monitor glaciers. You can also see the tanks. You can also see the trenches, etc. So the connection is very natural in the dual use of space. Do we have another question over there?
Thank you. Yeah, so you've talked about the need for developing different types of launchers, heavy lift, micro lift launchers, and we've seen that there are a number of companies in Europe that are now developing such launchers, many of them intended to be reusable. My question is, do you think that the European launch market is large enough, either institutionally or commercially, to sustain so many companies developing launchers? And if not, how do you see that situation developing, considering that a lot of these companies are funded through national programs or through ESA's geo return?
Well, definitely the European market is quite a big one. We should always remember that if we are calculating number of people living in Europe, it's bigger than the number of people who are living in the United States. Economies are a little bit, European Union economy market value is a little bit smaller than American, but it's very comparable things, Yes, we lost in some way, for some time competition to Elon Musk in launching, but we are coming back. Last year was very successful. This year, I hope also will be successful with Ariane 6, with new Ariane 6.4, and we shall continue going in that way. As I was speaking, also we need to look into reusable launching, rockets and so on. So I would say, yes, for time being, SpaceX is perhaps has quite a big part of global market, but we also see the interest from other countries to use European launching capabilities. And that means that we can foresee also expansion. Also, not only in terms of how many rockets we are launching per year, but also how many launching pads we have in Europe. And really, Kourou has possibilities to be expanded, but also we know the same, for example, Portugal initiatives to develop some launching pads in Azore Islands. Sweden is looking for their own launching capabilities. Our neighboring countries like Norway or United Kingdom also have some plans to develop. So Europe is really catching up, and I think that in 10 years' time situation can be very different.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. And just to add, I read actually yesterday that the capacity of European launchers is now actually, we are renting the capacity. We, as of now, of course, there was 1 year when we did not have autonomous access to space, unfortunately, and we had to use competition. But as of now, we are actually renting to American companies to launch with us. So this is just to add some statistics. And we have one more question before we go to Slido. So if there is, I see over there.
Thank you. Just want to ask, as you said, so the European mission are increasingly rely on private company. So my question is, what cybersecurity risks arise from data transfer inside or outside Europe, and how could this risk affect European security and the safety for people?
Well, cyber risks, of course, are very, very well known. Everywhere, and cyber defense shield is one of the priorities which we need to develop. And also we need to develop the same capabilities in space, and from different angles. That is why, for example, we consider that Iris Square, which will use quantum technologies, can be much more protected. Now, really, we are also developing some new capabilities with existing Galileo systems in order to protect them from jamming and spoofing. It's a little bit different than cyber, but nevertheless, very, very dangerous. So there are, this is, how to say, permanent battle. We know that, those who are waging cyber warfare against us, they are developing their capabilities, which means that we need to develop our own defense capabilities.
Thank you so much, and thank you for all the interesting questions. And now, hopefully, we should have a presentation with QR code. Yes. Sorry. So, as I told you, we are gathering some insights from you. This is why I told you to prepare your phones and to have like a tangible results from this youth policy dialogue. I would like to ask you to scan the QR code and answer a couple of questions for us, so that we have actually something in our hands that we can then translate into our policy making, into our initiatives, etc. So I think that now when you scan the QR code, you have there the 5 questions. Some of them you sort. I think maybe we can go also over the questions. Now you have them on your phones. So the first question, what should be the top priority in space policy over the next decade? We had a couple of suggestions here already in terms of dual use, in terms of security, in terms of access to space, autonomous access to space, etc. But obviously up to you to answer this question. Then we have second question, what aspects of space most inspires you or makes you optimistic? We also touched upon this topic before with the utopian and sci-fi, etc. But we also need to look into the future to see maybe we are missing something that you have on your mind, etc. So this could be also very inspiring for us. The third question which we have is which defense-related space challenges should the EU address most urgently? We also touched upon this topic with cybersecurity, access to space, etc. So these are the aspects that we would like to cover. I hope that it's possible to answer the question. No?
So David, you need to stay on the slide.
Okay. Oh, my fault. Oh, yeah, sorry. We still have some time. Excellent. So we see number 1, developing a European secure satellite communication system. You, Commissioner, you mentioned the Iris Square, so we've got you covered here. But also, it's changing. Developing in-orbit servicing, debris removal, space situational awareness capabilities for a more sustainable space environment. It's also very important, and this is a part of the EU Space Act, as we call it, the space law, that we are covering the sustainability part of space. So we had 19 answers, excellent. So let's go to the second question once again. What aspects of space most inspires you or makes you optimistic about the future? So once again, here you have a couple of options to choose from. I know it's a little bit prescriptive, but let's see how we do. Scientific discovery and exploration of the universe. This is really on the utopian and sci-fi side of the space, of course, but obviously that's a very important part of space research. We have international cooperation and peaceful use of space. This is also what we covered a little bit. Excellent, thank you so much. So I think that these two sums it up. Now we have the third question related to defense. So which defense-related space challenge should the EU address most urgently? So far we have dependencies. That's a very, very accurate topic, or a very up-to-date topic. We are reducing the dependencies, building the so-called strategic autonomy. And I see that this is really what inspires you the most. We also have managing space debris and congested orbits. This is also covered by the space law, but I see that a lot of these options are important for you. Let's go to the fourth question. To what extent do you support the European Union having a stronger role in defense, security and space policy? Let's see what you think. I hope to see exactly that. So obviously strong support, but of course if there are any spies or anything, I knew that would be but okay, I think that that here we pretty much get along. I dare to say that we also care a lot about stronger role of Europe in defense, security and space policy. And let's go to the last question. What type of support would most help young people enter the European space sector and have a voice in space policy? Why is this important? Is because the next generation will be forming the space ecosystem, and I'm pretty sure that most of you sitting here will in one way or another contribute to development of the space policy. And we have here the most dominant more internships, traineeships and early career job opportunities. I'm very happy to tell you that we already addressed this. We have a so-called Space Career Launchpad where we post internships, traineeships and early career job opportunities for you to have a look and maybe find opportunity in the space sector. It's also important to know that you don't have to be a space engineer to enter the space market. You could be a lawyer, you could be a designer even. We need a lot of people from business, etc. So this would be the sum up of the poll. And now I would kindly ask the commissioner to give some closing remarks.
Well, yeah, I think that this questionnaire was very good in showing that we have very similar views on the future of space. And again, revolutionary developments in space are guaranteed. That's what really will happen. We maybe cannot predict, exactly what technologies will come during next 10, 15 or 20 years. But historically, I'm absolutely sure that if, 19th century from economical and technological point of view, it was a century of railways and trains and electricity. 20th century was a century of automobiles and planes. So the 21st century will be very much featured and influenced by space. So we can call 21st century of space. So if you as young people are deciding to relate your professional life with space, really you will be among front comers and also among the winners of this space race. So good luck to you.
Thank you so much. And before you leave, I let the commissioner to do his to continue with his program. I would just like to tell you a couple of things about what we do for young people in terms of what you also yourself mentioned, the careers internship, etc. We have a dedicated program for SMEs and startup. It's called Cassini. through Cassini, we also organize hackathons. So you can just come and attend one of these hackathons. We organize 2 hackathons per year at 8 different locations around Europe. So you can attend whichever feels the most convenient for you. And then you form a team. You can even come alone, or you can come with your friends. Form a team and then compete for prizes. We also do this dedicated to defense. Sometimes we have space defense hackathons. It's under the UDIS initiative, which is like a sister initiative of Cassini. So there you can very easily get in touch with us. Also, you can find us all around here and talk to us, and we will let you know how you can contribute yourself. Thank you so much.